cancer. He leaves behind his beloved wife, Nancy, his high school sweetheart, and wife of 55 years. Jim was born in Dunmore and graduated from St. Paul High School in 1963. He received bachelor and MBA degrees from University of Scranton. Began his professional career in New York City with Pete Marwick Mitchell and Company. And after he became a CPA, he returned to Scranton and joined what was then known as Perrine Randolph on his 30th birthday. He eventually became a partner in that firm, now known as Baker Tilly. 33 years with them. After retirement, he joined the board of directors of Community Bank System. He served us in the 109th Infantry Regiment, Pennsylvania Army National Guard, 1967 to 1973, and retired as a Specialist E5. He was also, and this is a big deal, an Eagle Scout. Former president of the Northeast Pennsylvania Council, Boy Scouts of America, recipient of the Silver Beaver Award for distinguished service to that council. He loved baseball and he attended games in 56 different major league stadiums. He was a golfer and one of the founding members of the Glenmora National Golf Club. Jim loved to travel. And man, he always told he and his wife, Nancy, I travel vicariously through you. They visited all 50 states, 73 countries. Active member of St. Paul Church, Scranton. He's survived by his wife of nearly 56 years, the former Nancy Ferguson. Daughters, sons, 16 beloved grandchildren, and many, many other family members. Jim Wilson, our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny with increasing clouds this afternoon, 55 degrees. It's 45 outside the studios right now. Tonight, cloudy with rain, low 45. Thursday, cloudy and windy with rain, heavy at times, 53. Friday, cloudy and windy with breaks of sun and a chance of showers, 50 degrees. Bobby Helms, this date, 1957. We're not pushing Christmas yet. Not here. I don't even touch it till after Thanksgiving. But he recorded his Christmas classic, Jingle Bell Rock, at Bradley Filman Recording Studios, Nashville, Tennessee. This date, 1957. And man, does that song have staying power, huh? Well, and that before that was your phony governor, Shapiro. And saying, hey, some people are going to get really screwed, but this is our leverage. Thanks, Governor Shapiro. Because he's doing it here in Pennsylvania, too. The only place that has been shut down longer and operating without a budget longer than the federal government is Pennsylvania. Because that phony's in charge. Well, a real person is running for mayor. He can save us from the Mayor Many Names and her insanity. Like $30 million for bike lanes and stop signs, which the three blind mice approved last night at City Council. I'm going to go into that a little later, I hope, because my old friend, Councilman King, was up to his same lying, disgusting insanity last night, talking about how great a job he did along with the mayor. We got to change this city, guys. We've got to save Scranton. It's going to affect all of you. And the guy that I know can do it, Gene Barrett, running as an independent for mayor here in Scranton. Gene, how are you?
Good morning, Bob. How you doing?
Well,
but let me just quickly. I had sent a note to Kevin Wilson some time ago. Don't expect any money from the inheritances from your parents because the travel was just had to drain them.
They were so great, the Wilsons. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you're speaking, as you well know, to a veteran and the proud son of a multi-decorated veteran, as you covered it a while ago on your show. My father, wounded 3 times in the Ardennes in Germany and Luxembourg and so on. So, but anyway, I honor Kevin Wilson and his family. A great family, family.
The best.
Yeah.
So, Gene, thank you for running for mayor, first of all, and tell us. Let's talk about the campaign. How is that going?
Well,
what are you going to do? This is the last weekend. It's hard to believe.
It's going very well, but it's difficult because, as everyone knows, the mayor was absent for probably 3 years, setting up this national network for her run for Congress, because she truly does not want to be the mayor of the city of Scranton. She wants to be in Congress, and that's unfortunate for the voters.
Yes.
That continue to support her because they're going to be wasting their vote. You take these opportunities. She's taking these opportunities. Let's say the pool, Nayoak Park Pool. You know where I live. I'm right across the street from the park. That pool is roughly 50% complete, maybe. All right, that's it, and it's timed. Right now, it's timed to be open. Geez, just a coincidence. For the late spring of 2026. Geez, I don't know why that is, but that's that's the timing. So the netting came off City Hall. They're painting crosswalks. They're putting in flashing stop signs.
They're painting crosswalks over potholes.
Yeah,
I have it in my neighborhood. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, these are normal, mundane, routine services that the quality of life issues that the city and its residents should have been afforded that opportunity over the last several years. So, but now all of a sudden, after 3 years, just about setting up the national congressional run, she's decided to at the right time seize the opportunity to show the people in Scranton that of all the things that she's doing, but. Hopefully they see through that charade.
Well, all right. You've got these few more days to convince everyone or enough people. Tell me, what do you want to do for the city?
Well, number one, I want to hire people like she based on merit, but I don't want to hire people based on merit and then have those same people that supposedly have the qualification and turn around and spend hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s on consultants to do a job that she said they were qualified for. So that's one of the things where there's a great opportunity. There was a stormwater management report that was relatively fresh when the mayor took office. They totally ignored it and spent hundreds of $1,000s on consultants mimicking basically the same report.
And I'll guarantee those consultants are contributing to her mayoral campaign and her congressional campaign. Guaranteed.
Yes. I mean, when you see the report, you see where the funds are coming from. And she has that ability to raise a lot of money. She's being supported on the national level, and that from a financing standpoint, running a campaign that's difficult to keep up with. But I think we have been. We've had tremendous momentum over the last several weeks, especially once she finally fessed up and told the public what her true intentions were. And hopefully, they see through that. But there's an opportunity too that instead of hindering businesses to help them streamlining the permitting process, almost all of the major developers, especially the ones in the Central Business District that I've talked to, are not pleased with their involvement with the city in attempting to get their projects through, and so that's another area that needs to be looked at very 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 closely. Certainly the roads and better use of coordinating everything with the utilities. There's economies there that even under relatively easy paved cuts, and if there's a number of them on one street and they've got to do some paving, well, you come in and you say, look, you know what, we'll pay for half and we'll get the street paved at the same time. So there's greater economies there that I think that could be realized that aren't being realized.
And Gene, I've been pointing out to people, when there's construction work to be done, infrastructure work to be done under the streets, that's the prime opportunity to have the paving of that street subsidized by the utility. And we're not doing it. It's insane.
No, we're not doing it. And I think that when like for instance, when the water company comes up with the rate increase, I think there could be some opportunity there to work with the PUC and the water company, let's say, and the gas company, and saying, okay, you know what, if they're going to make this improvement, what can they do in addition to us to help us with stormwater, to help us with reconstruction of streets that are fairly close by to where the utility has the planned construction and so on. So, but one must think, or maybe people in our circle think this way, but when I look back, or I look at Mayor Cognetti's opportunity, she had a president, she had a vice president, she had a senior United States senator, she had a multi-year elected congressman, she had a governor, Democratic governor in Harrisburg, and typically someone that would have that kind of resources would have done far more from a financial standpoint, bringing financial resources back to the city. And all she did was rely totally on the funds that were passed under the COVID situation, which every city in America got that same pro rata share of those funds.
We got nothing extra.
We got nothing extra. and as people would hopefully recall, when Joe McDade was there as second-ranking Republican on the Appropriations Committee, when he sat down and they cut up that pie, Mr. McDade, Congressman McDade, made darn sure that northeastern Pennsylvania got more than their fair share.
Yes, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
And they named Paige Cognetti and Gaughan named a street and an expressway after him and got nothing but a photo op.
Yeah. In my history, I've never seen such a unique experience that a mayor had and blew it, and could have used all of those resources to help us get a lot of things done here in Scranton. And but at the same time, I mean, she wasn't really watching the store, because her main effort and goal was to set up this national network for her campaign to run for Congress. And all one has to do is look at her 57-page finance report as opposed to the 13-page finance report of her Democratic opponent in this past primary, and it just jumps right off the page.
Yeah, crazy.
Excuse the expression.
I just hate to be used, and as a Scranton resident, we're being used. Gene Barrett, thank you as always. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Stay safe, stay strong on the campaign trail, and we're rooting for you, man. We're rooting for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Gene Barrett, mayor candidate, City of Scranton. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:07 and change here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Wednesday, October 29, year of our Lord 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and just one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like three old friends, three veterans we lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. James Wilson, CPA, Scranton, Eugene Kosklo, Fell Township, and Joe Arcuri, West Scranton. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense, it is unwavering, and it will provide for you, for the balance of this morning, a sanctuary of sanity for you to enjoy, to bathe in, to even luxuriate in, should you choose. Yeah. So, John Fetterman, the avowed Marxist, Bernie Sanders acolyte, is the only person in the National Democrat Party making any sense. How did we get here? And he's calling them out as liars and saying it in a nice way. I don't have to. He's got to live with these clowns like Chuck Schumer. It's unbelievable. It's scary. And you got an airhead like AOC and a real ignorant dummy like Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's really an ignorant man. Gets married in Moscow. The home of oppression. It's just insane. These people are nuts. Absolutely insane. Frank on the pipeline, he agrees with me. But it's sad when Fetterman's the voice of reason. And he is. He's the voice of reason. Calling out the truth. Speaking the truth. I told you, I said, I have these conversations with Democrats all the time. They have to make stuff up to even get to a point of discussion. They have to pretend things that they've said and said they stood for in the past never happened. Somebody texted in, oligarchy, the oligarchy. But here's a multimillionaire with multiple homes who flies in private jets telling us about the oligarchy. Oh, but I don't mean me. I mean, I'm not supposed to stand in line at an airport. These people are crazy. So, and you know what it is? Somebody becomes a U.S. senator or a U.S. congressperson or whatever. Now, I worked on Capitol Hill, and when I was in politics in my day, I had substantial interaction with all of these types. And I've got to tell you that a number of them were impressive. And you'd say, well, okay, I get it. But a number of them were such obvious mediocrities, Joe Biden being the classic example. And they just follow whoever these thought leaders are. I mean, and then they just keep jamming these talking points and narratives down everybody's throat until you start to say, well, you know, maybe he's got a point. No, they don't. They don't have a point. They are lying. They are incompetent. They are stupid. We just had the 3 blind mice in the city of Scranton. Perfect example. Pothole Page doesn't want to fix the potholes because that's not sexy. That does not sell when you're trying to get left-wing money for a congressional run. What does sell? Bike lanes. That sells. Oh, she's a real progressive. Opening pools when you have to wear winter coats. Yeah, that how stupid. Let me say this. Nobody's voted for her yet. Well, they may have mail-in ballots. I don't know that. I don't even know. I guess you could vote early here. I hope her voters understand how stupid she thinks they are. Because not only is she asking them to ignore her incompetence, she's asking them to fall for her lies. And those of Billy King and Dr. Rothschild and I don't know, I'm forgetting his first name at the moment, Smurl, the 3 blind mice on city council. And they voted for this $30 million insane package. Now, number one, we don't have bikes driving around the downtown. But if you chose to drive your bike, you could drive amidst normal traffic. This is not Fifth Avenue where people get momentum and they're going 60 and 70 miles an hour. So a solution, a $30 million solution, was discovered in the midst of her re-election campaign and campaign for Congress. A $30 million solution to a problem that didn't exist. Do you know Billy King asked? And I like him. He's a good guy. Great, married into a great family. My old neighbors. Billy King said, well, would you rather get hit by a car at 50 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour? Is this the level of insanity we've sunk to? Wow. Cabinet guy says, did you see her stupid commercials? Look what I did. What a joke. I know it. I live in Scranton. I've suffered under this fool. The people who have developed, that she's touting their development as though she had something to do with it. They will all tell you she has hampered their developments. She has delayed their developments. She has made their developments more expensive and more of a headache. You couldn't get into City Hall to ask a question. Wow. No, this is crazy time. They give you upside down world, bizarro world. Somebody says, where are you going to put the bike lanes? We have no room now in Scranton on the sidewalks. And most of Scranton is seniors on electric scooters. I see a lot of those. I do see the Pride Mobility vehicles all over Scranton. $30 million for bike lanes and stop signs. It's off the charts stupid. And these 3 dumb blind mice voted for it last night. The only way we can stop it, because remember, she won't be around to oversee the projects. She'll be campaigning for Congress. That's how it gets worse. My God, it gets worse. This is the epitome. I tell you people, I mean, we're from 13 counties we reach. And I tell you these stories because it's coming to a theater near you. Lackawanna County is just the worst. We got a guy named Cappellini coming who's spitting and screaming and carrying on. He's running for county commissioner about no kings. His running mate, unnamed running mate, but his endorser, and the guy he's going to be a toady for, Bill Gaughan. They're talking about no kings, and Bill Gaughan is initiating legal actions on his own without any authority. He's acting like the boy king of Lackawanna County. You cannot make up the insanity of these people. I had a conversation a couple years back with Mike Cappellini. I explained to him that I thought we were going to have a normal conversation. And he's got an engaging personality. I like the guy. And I said, America's not a democracy. Because he start using that word. You know, the buzzword for the lunatics on the left. I said, it's not a democracy. He went out of his mind. I said, please look it up. Don't embarrass yourself. It's a democratic republic. Huge difference. He doesn't even know what a democracy is, but he's there talking about kings, spitting and screaming, and Bill Gaughan the same. This is these people. It's unbelievable. And you could drive a bike or an electric bike around the main streets of downtown Scranton without any problem. They're claiming they're going to get more parking spots. How are you going to get more parking spots again, they take us for stupid. How are you going to get less traffic issues and more parking spots when you're carving out for bike lanes? Wow. Scary people. Very scary people. Bob, latest campaign mailer in today's mail, addressed to my daughter who was away at college, states, billionaires are trying to ban abortion in Pennsylvania. Vote yes to retain Donahue, Doherty, and Price. Dems lying with no shame. LTS, says Eric in Exeter. Nobody's attempting. Did you believe the governor's lie, Shapiro's lie? That your reproductive rights, that's what the phonies call it. No, your ability to kill your baby will be taken away from you. They said it's going to be taken away. You can't kill your baby anymore. You can't kill your baby when you want to. That was going to be taken away from you. Did it turn out to be a lie? No, they're using it again for these three sickening Supreme Court judges. Vote no. Donahue, Doherty, Price. Three left-wing lunatic big city hacks. We'll be back. The Platters. I'm a classic rock fan, but I'm telling you, go back to before I was born, man, did they make some great music. Murph tells us this date, 1958, the Platters released their hit, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And then 1929, Black Tuesday. The bubble bursts on Wall Street. Now, they say it was the beginning of the Great Depression, but what is interesting is, and I want this to sink in. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, great leader. But nothing he did with government stopped or even slowed the Great Depression. It's so important that amazing fact, you would never know it. All the government intervention engineered by Franklin Delano Roosevelt did nothing. World War II and its preparation got us out of the Depression. And, of course, at some point, people say, okay, let's get this moving again. Because, and here's the proof of it. And you could go through unemployment figures. You could go through economic, our GDP, all of that. And in 1937, we actually went into another crater. That's after all the government programs initiated by FDR. The government is not our savior. Period. And nobody gets it. Somebody taking in bike lanes, total waste of space and money. I have homes in Scranton, never see a bike, only around Niagara Park from time to time. $30 million bike lane project, total scam. For the glorification of the mayor who would be congressperson. Now, this I did not see. I'm going to have to check it out. This is, you see, you happen to see the disgusting flyer postcard from County Democrat Committee about Brian Thornton, Republican, running for Luzerne County Council, using fat shaming and outright lies about him. He responded in an article in today's Times Leader. Oh, they want that council, baby. They want to turn this county blue. I wonder if sometimes if they already have. Somebody else texted, Bob, it all comes down to education. People today have no idea what type. But this is Mike Capolini running for county commissioner, and he doesn't know our form of government. They continue. People today have no idea what type of government we are and what the terms mean, so they just go along with who grandpa, mom, and dad voted for. They don't care who gets elected as long as it's a Democrat. Yeah, the Democrat voters. The Democrat voters. Well, here's a guy who's neither a dummy or a crat. Our guy, Angelo from Madisonville. How are you, Angelo?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Well, what I want to know is what the heck is Paige smoking? The heck was smoke in her eyes. I want to know what they're smoking. And that guy that said you're better off getting hit with a car at 35 than 50. They got to be smoking something, Bob. I'll tell you.
Angelo, it's insanity. And I don't know. People either don't want to hear the truth or I just don't understand it. I mean, these people are insane that are trying to run. She is running our city. The three blonde mice are running the city of Scranton into the ground, of course. But people are still like, they're still spouting their lies, and people are like, well, okay.
I was going to go buy that new Mustang. It's only $328,000. It's the GTD, but I'm going to go get an electric bike now.
There you go.
I'm going to drive.
Now you would cut a mean figure in downtown Scranton. I think you'd stop traffic if we got you an electric bike.
I don't even know if I could ride one, never alone buy one. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Fetterman, you know what? there's a word called conversion. Like I think we could convert him to be a Republican. I don't know. Like I don't think he's smoking anything
the
anymore.
reason there's always going to be a separation there, Angelo, and I like Fetterman. I don't know him, but I like him from a distance. I liked him even when he was a left-wing lunatic on every issue. He was born trust. He's a trust fund baby. I don't know if it never worked a day in his life. I don't think he's ever going to really share that, a normal background with most people.
Well, I have to agree with you, but like he didn't talk to me yet, so
you might be able to confirm.
I don't know, buddy. I'll tell you.
Angelo, you standing there talking to him would be one of the funniest pictures that I can think of.
I'm gonna throw in some Italian words there too to like confuse it. but your show, it's LTS, and I got to shout out to the Why Not again. Let me tell you something. There's people in there that listen to your show constantly, and they really enjoy it.
Well, I read that you were at a Leinert event, right, on a Sunday. I read that, your text.
Oh yeah, like there was a couple people there that are Democrat or Republicans that were running. They're Republicans, and Donnie, he's a good man. You know him, and you know
Yep.
our buddy John for sure. You know John, and I'm telling you, like it was a great event. But getting back to these people, I have no idea. I got hit with a car. The guy was going 28 miles an hour, and I jumped up in the air, and I says, "Oh, good, I'll land on the hood." I guess I thought I was Bruce Lee or something that day. But you know what? Newton's law of gravitation. What goes up must come down. Guess what? It still hit me. And that lunatic that said it's better to get hit at 35 than 50.
Our city, one of the three blind mice, Billy King. Yeah.
Yeah, like come on, Billy. It hurts no matter what the guy's driving or going, man. Yeah. Oh my God! What are we gonna do with these people?
I don't know. I know Billy. I was with him at a party, and I said, Bill, would you please stand up to this lunacy? This is a couple of years ago. Would you stand up to this lunacy? But remember, Billy is a career public. He's been on the public payroll for his career. Multiple, 3 pensions or what. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a clue what normal people go through. And so he loves government.
To a good family,
a great family, but he loves government. And I get it, but don't impose your insanity on us just because you got yours.
Bottom line is everybody got to go out and vote. You want to change, you want things to work, you got to go vote.
Amen.
What else could we do?
I know it.
What we could do.
Hey, always a pleasure, Angelo. Thank you, my man.
Okay, LTS. Brother.
All right, LTS back at you. Let's take a break. Hear from our great sponsors. We'll be back with a Veterans Tribute, the weather, and more, as they say. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour. This day and every day. Brought to you by our friend, John Basiliga. Well, as we head towards the weekend, we feature one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality. You talk about choice. Want to see a movie? The best place to see a movie, and it's been voted as such. The Scranton Art House, downtown Scranton. You want a bar restaurant? Well, we got 3 of them. Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township, Far Street Tavern, the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton, and the Queen City Tavern in Oliphant, the latest edition. Fine dining with an incredible, amazing modern touch, a Terra 519 downtown Scranton. You've never seen anything like it in this area. And then the Stegmeyer Mansion. Go back to the old days. Dine in luxury, Stegmeyer Mansion. My old friend, Eugene Kosklo. We lost him September 16th at age 77. That was last year. He was from Fell Township. He's survived by his wife of 53 years, Catherine Gilroy Kosklo. They were married in 1971. Born in Carbondale, Gene served us in the U.S. Army as a pilot. He flew Huey helicopters during the Vietnam era. He was a graduate of Fell High School, Lackawanna Junior High School, Lackawanna Junior College, and he earned a bachelor's degree in accounting from Upper Iowa University. He was a true entrepreneur. He owned the Lobster Trap restaurants in Einan and Wilkes-Barre, and he was the founder of 315 Realty Corp., Dolphin Sales, and GC Realty. I got to know him when we both started the bank, Landmark, in Pittston. And he just a good, solid guy. He was a member of the Elkview Country Club and Our Lady of the Rosary Parish, Carbondale. He had a love for airplanes. He took me up in this gorgeous older model he had, all glass. He was very proud to accept the Wright Brothers Award, an elite award for 50 years of decorated flight safety service. He loved deep sea fishing, boats, gardening, travel. He's survived by his son, Gene, his daughter, Dr. Jessica Brennan, their spouses, 4 grandchildren, and many other family members. The late, great Eugene Kosklo, our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny with increasing clouds this afternoon. High 55, 47 outside the studio as I speak. Tonight, cloudy with rain, low 45. Thursday, cloudy and windy with rain, heavy at times, 53. Friday, cloudy and windy with breaks of sun and a chance of showers, 50. So as we head into Halloween. So, listen, Bulldog, do we have anything to play? Okay, I thought I had something to play. But so here's Cutie. We have these parties, and I'm like, I don't want to. I'm going to put a sheet over my head. And I want everybody to get dressed. Yeah, you have to understand, I'm not against people getting into Halloween. And I want to go to these parties. These people that invited us are great. But I said, I'm just going to put a sheet over my head and, cut a couple holes and find the oldest sheet. So Cutie goes out. Oh, and she goes, you're going to love what I got you. So, you got to go back and forth. What is it? What did you get? Well, apparently I'm going to go as a prisoner and she's going to go as a cop. I said, in what world is that funny? So I'm not wearing it. I said, don't even cancel it. I'm not going in an orange jumpsuit. I had one for enough of my time during my 8.5 years in prison. And so I'm back to the sheet. because I ain't wearing that. I said that. It's not. I said it's not even funny. It's trite. So we're at an impasse, at least on that issue. Here's William King, one of the three blind mice, my old buddy. Proud to endorse both, but he's been a Democrat his whole life. And by the way, it has served him well. It has served him well. As they say, he's on a fixed income, but he fixed it really good. Proud to endorse both our Mayor Paige Cognetti and City Council President Gerald Smurl for re-election. Yeah, the second of the three blind mice. And then he goes through these fake accomplishments. It is just unbelievable. And he said last night, talking about Joe Biden, he says, we've got 67 million reasons why he was a good to Scranton. And we've been saying this all along. I said it from the moment that first idiotic statement came out from Joe Biden supporters. We didn't get any more than our percentage. Gene Barrett was on the air talking about this last hour. You had Casey. You had Fetterman. You had Cartwright on the Appropriations Committee. You had Joe Biden, who claimed his hometown and used our city to create his own brand. Actually, Obama's people did it for him. He was too dumb to know that. And we didn't get anything extra. Nothing. Perfect point. Perfect point is that we got nothing. And she blew an historic opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They were handing out money like candy. We got none of it. Wow. But they'll continue to lie. Slick says, Bob LTS, that actually is funny to us, but I'm sure not to you. Well, no, I've got no problem with, I have no problem with, I was in prison. But like, it isn't funny, you know? And I don't mean the joke's on me or anything like that. I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about that part of it. I'm not ashamed I was there. It doesn't bother me that I was there. It's what is. It's just too obvious, which makes it unfunny in my view. So that's where we disagree on that point. Somebody else says you should go as a DPW worker and stick out your can. Somebody else says, take it like a man. You're wearing the jumpsuit. Oh, Lord. LTS, Bob, do what my nephew did years ago. Cut several holes in the sheet and tell everyone that you're Charlie Brown. That's what I used to go as when I take my kids trick-or-treating. Remember Charlie Brown, you guys? He'd have all the holes. He cut holes all over the sheet. That's what I had. At some point, I turned my back and my wife threw it out. Well, I would still be wearing it. All right, we got to take a break. By the way, our guy, Rob Bresnahan, our congressman, the real congressman, not the fake phony trying to become one, he announced the Keep WIC Working Act to protect the women and children funding during the government shutdown. Good for you. Thank you. We'll take a break and be back. This date, 1966, the Mysterians. Murph finds this stuff. Moved up to number 1 with 96 Tears, Bob Cordaro. And then, if you don't recognize the name, it's because this date, 1987, Ronald Reagan nominated Douglas Ginsburg. And Robert Bork had been defeated, Joe Biden among others, who they figured out how to weaponize and organize and attack. The beginning of continued bad period in our politics. But Ginsburg nomination fell apart because he smoked pot. Could you imagine that today? That's incredible. Ginsburg smoked pot and he was out. It is 38 years ago, but still, come on. That was it? Somebody said, Bob, at first I thought it was funny, meaning that I'd be wearing it, until you explained how you feel. I'm not upset about it. I'm not. Again, Bob, you can always be a prisoner of love. Somebody says, Bob, you're a new hero of Northeast Pennsylvania. Donate the jumpsuit to the Biden crime family. Somebody said it's only funny until someone is embarrassed, then it's hilarious. No, I just think it's too obvious. It's too obvious. That's the point. Funny is subtle. And maybe you even have to explain it. Then it's funny. Oh, Lordy. Well, in any event, we're going to take our break for the news. Because I go to the Bicardo jewelry store on Spruce Street and Jefferson Avenue, downtown Scranton, catty corner from the Radisson, the great old train station hotel. And I look, and I see Raymond Weil. I see Breitling watches. I see Oris. I see Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Boulevard. And then just for me, I pick out the Bicardo watch, which I'm wearing today, and which tells me we're approaching 11 o'clock. And that means we got to go. Brian Hughes will have the news. We will come back. Timothy Narazi from the Washington Examiner on a couple of foreign policy issues. We'll be back after this. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:09 here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Wednesday, October 29, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. It's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we lost this year and last, but celebrate today, friends all. Like James Wilson, Scranton, Eugene Kosklo, Fell Township, and Joe Arcuri, West Scranton. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment, this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. And, yeah. Mondami. Did you hear Mondani? Now, by the way, the aunt that he spoke of, that he teared up, this is how disgusting a phony he is, that fake smile. Not only did he say, well, your boots, your neck is under the boot of the NYPD, and then show his rabid hatred for Jews. That's when he was just a socialist scumbag. Now he's on the verge of becoming mayor. And the only thing that stands in between, because of this idiotic party loyalty, is Andrew Cuomo, a piece of spit of his own kind. That's how sad it's become. But anyway, that aunt who was afraid to go on the subways in her hijab, she didn't even live in New York City. He made that story up and somehow got verklempt telling it. That to me, that's what would, if anybody votes for him, you're an idiot. Period. Irredeemable idiot. In any event, I go from something hateful to something great by necessity. And that is our Mother Teresa, St. Teresa, and her message for October 29. She said, one cannot expect to become a saint without paying the price. And the price is much renunciation, much temptation, much struggle and persecution, and all sorts of sacrifices. One cannot love God except at the cost of oneself. And did she do it or not? Yeah. Thank you, Mary Regina. All right, so a couple of foreign policy issues came across our desk. Of course, the president, with his meeting with Xi Jinping, the news media says it's high stakes. Okay, stop. Can you come up with something better? Please. Why don't you just call it important and leave it at that? In any event, we've talked to him before. Tim Narazi, foreign affairs correspondent for the Washington Examiner. And there's another subject, which is this renewed conflict in Israel after the ceasefire was arranged. And it's part of the deal. And Tim Narazi's reporting on all of it. Tim, welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me again. I'm good. How are you?
Well, as they say, the Chinese philosopher said, may you live in interesting times. He could have added, may you be the foreign affairs correspondent in 2025 for the Washington Examiner. Tim, tell us about the strikes that Netanyahu ordered in response to Hamas continuing their problems.
Yeah, so this was yet another sort of threat to the ceasefire that the Trump administration helped get across the finish line, earlier this month. And basically, what happened was that there was a series of disputes leading up to it. Hamas turned over the remains of a Israeli hostage, a deceased Israeli hostage, but they were then found to be partial remains of a hostage whose remains had already been returned. So that irked a lot of people in Israel, a lot of lawmakers, and a lot of sort of defense officials. There was also a report of a exchange of gunfire in Rafah that appears to have resulted in the death of one IDF soldier. These combined, along with actually a sort of a third issue, which was accusations from Israel with accompanying footage that Hamas was intentionally burying remains and then digging them up in front of Red Cross personnel to sort of pretend like they had discovered them naturally. So all of this together really irked Israel, and they launched what Netanyahu called immediate and powerful strikes against Hamas, bombarded several locations in Gaza that they claimed were sort of Hamas personnel affiliated. Israel, after launching that strike, then went on to say that the ceasefire will continue. It seems that it's a bit of a tit-for-tat mentality on Israel's part. Hamas denied any involvement with the attack on the IDF soldier and have claimed that they're doing their best to get the remains back to Israel. Long-standing explanation for why they didn't immediately turn everything over is that due to the nature of the war that's been going on for years now, a lot of the remains, a lot of the dead hostages have been buried in rubble or lost in the conflict. So, yeah, it seems as though the ceasefire has been reestablished, or that it never, depending on how you define ceasefire, it's kind of hard to call it a ceasefire when guns are being shot and missiles are being fired. But, it seems as though Israel is keen on getting back to norms. Trump sided with Israel recently when asked about it on Air Force One. He said they have a right to sort of defend themselves in that manner. Hamas has been, sort of upset, needless to say, with the current situation, and claims that Israel is intentionally trying to violate the ceasefire, intentionally trying to restart hostilities so that they can make further gains into the Gaza Strip. That's really where we're standing right now.
To me, I thought the ceasefire, nothing's going to be done except by force over there between these two combatants, number one. But I thought the significance of the Trump deal was that all of these other countries signed on, which meant that it gave the opening for the expansion of the Abraham Accords with the entire Middle East. That's what I saw as the breakthrough, not this narrow agreement between Hamas and Israel. Well,
yes, and that is ultimately the goal, but hashing that out is proving rather difficult. The peace plan is broken into 3 phases, and we're still trying to get across the finish line of phase 1. The key part of phase 1 that really sort of inspired a lot of hope about this arrangement was the return of all living hostages, which seems to have been conducted without too much issue. So now that the living hostages have been returned, the main focus here is getting the remains of the deceased hostages out of Gaza, and also Hamas laying down their weapons. Now, Hamas has, been pretty decapitated at this point. It's really sort of running on fumes. There's plenty of personnel. I mean, there's thousands of personnel, but in terms of organization, resources, really just battle capabilities, they're really running on fumes here, which is probably why they ultimately signed on to the deal, is that there's really nowhere left to turn on this. Now, it becomes more difficult because it's not just Hamas that exists in the Gaza Strip that could prove difficult. Hamas, has rival gangs within the Palestinian territories. There are splinter groups. There are individual radicals. So it's very hard to police something like this, especially when you don't have boots on the ground.
Yep.
And the U.S. has said time and time again that they're not going to have boots on the ground. Now, the bringing in of other Arab countries in the region was intended to allow the United States to continue on this path while playing a sort of coordinating role without having to deploy, a military presence. Israel has vetoed several countries that have wanted or that have expressed interest in helping out. It's a tricky situation. There's a lot of bad blood on all sides in this conflict, and trying to figure out who's going to do what has proved very difficult. The United States has set up I believe it's called a civilian military cooperation center in southern Israel, just a short drive from Gaza, and that's where a lot of these, big picture conversations are taking place. And U.S. officials, U.S. leaders in the region have been very clear that this is not going to be a cakewalk of a peace negotiation or a peace plan. Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, they've all expressed optimism about the long term, but have cautioned that this is going to be, a slog trying to get this and across the finish line, and that it's going to take a lot of patience, and it's going to really require discipline on all sides to not break the framework of the agreement.
Tim Narazi is the Washington Examiner Foreign Affairs correspondent. Tim, can you hang with us through the commercial break so we can get to China?
Sure thing.
All right. Tim Narazi is going to join us because this meeting between Xi and Trump is going to take place, and Tim's been studying all this. He's on top of it. We absolutely love him. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. This date, 1966, Murph tells us a new band debuted with their first single at number 2. That's the Monkees, Last Train to Clarksville. And before that, John Glenn at age 77, back into space. Great stuff. This date, 1998. Tim Narazi is our guest. He is the foreign affairs correspondent for the Washington Examiner. We were talking about the situation in Israel, Gaza, all of that. But let's pivot now, Tim. Let's talk about China.
Sure thing.
Trump meeting with President Xi, and that meeting imminent. And you've got a take on this that is interesting. Fire away.
I think it's not really about interesting takes because honestly, I think everyone understands. You alluded earlier that you're sick of hearing about how high stakes it is. And while I certainly am sympathetic towards, exhaustion with tropes in headlines, it is hard to get away from the idea that this is a critical negotiation. This is set to be the culmination of a trade war that has been being waged the entirety of Trump's second administration, and it's sort of a spillover of discontent from Trump's first administration, and it's the first time that he's meeting with President Xi since taking office again. So it's really going to be quite a serious discussion that both have sort of. It seems to me that they both are sort of in their corners of the boxing ring with their trainers, kind of like rubbing their shoulders and telling them, make sure to duck when he throws the right hook and things like that.
Yeah. And by the way, Tim, I don't say it isn't high stakes. I say find a better word. That's all I say.
I mean, this boils down to basically, on one level, on a basic level, this is a conversation to hash out the finer details of a trade agreement that's already been, the framework's been built through negotiations in Malaysia over the weekend. And there's a couple of key factors here, rare earth minerals that are critical for sort of electronics and manufacturing. That's something that China has been holding over the U.S.'s head. Trump has been threatening 100% tariffs on Chinese imports. There's the question of ownership over TikTok, which is one of the most widely used social media apps in the United States, and sort of a slew of soybean purchases, U.S. soybean purchases. There's a slew of sort of niche to wide range to broad issues that are all hoping to be resolved in this trade discussion taking place on Thursday at the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. It's going to be on the sidelines. I doubt that there's going to be, cameras or recorders or any sort of journalists in the room. It's going to be kind of mano a mano. And the question on a more symbolic level, or even more than symbolic, on a more existential level, this is sort of a conversation and a negotiation and maybe a fight for influence. China for weeks now has been talking about, not just for weeks, but they've ramped up the rhetoric in the past weeks of how the future of the world is multipolar. And that is a very obvious reference to the idea that, America is in jeopardy of losing its status as the hegemon over the world, economically, militarily, etc.
And you state that they've behind the scenes they have growing confidence regarding that fact.
Yes, that's at least what they're projecting. Okay. Trying to understand the inner workings of the CCP and what their actual positions are, kind of like the Kremlin is sort of a fool's errand. What conversation, you have a conversation with Putin, you have a conversation with Xi Jinping, that then gets very quietly sort of sent out to, the Politburo and the CCP higher up, and then that gets, talked about in the editorial rooms of the state-owned newspapers, and then that's kind of gussied up and prettied up and then published in a column. So there's several levels of interference between whatever conversations happen in Beijing and what we get through state organs and state newspapers. But
Tim,
yeah,
just from your perception, though, Tim, do you feel that this is something they're trying to project or something they actually believe? Because they've got severe economic and demographic problems that are never publicized, but that are very real and not existential, but certainly substantial, and they don't have the tools to deal with them right now.
Well, China, for quite some time, communist China has had a sort of brute force approach to everything from their economic policies to their foreign policies. And I think ultimately they need a sense of confidence. They need a sense of, the rising dragon narrative that we've had for years now about how China very soon will become a world superpower that rivals the United States. I think that they've built their entire political structure on that narrative. And so I don't know that they have a choice but to sort of willfully believe it.
Okay.
There's plenty of good reasons for China to feel confident. They have managed to onshore massive amounts of manufacturing and refinement and sort of critical pieces of global trade infrastructure onto their shores. And obviously, one of the key goals of the Trump administration and sort of the ideological project surrounding Trump moving forward, even after his second administration, is to reshore American manufacturing, American refinement, these industries that have been offshored for so long, because we're seeing now that, the current order of nice, peaceful global economics is not necessarily as guaranteed as was once thought. So this is sort of the fundamental existential question at the center of this is, can America wrest back some of the economic and soft power that it had, that it lost to China? And can China, kind of keep its mitts on the influence that it's gained through its sort of trade diplomacy?
Well, I hope that you could come back maybe even next week if you're available to do a follow-up on the meetings, including all the other meetings in the Far East that Trump has conducted, and the results versus the that which Trump has been telling us. I mean, because everything's beautiful and done and sealed up, and there's all kinds of love. I want to know what actually happened. So maybe we could check back in with you next week. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Tim Narazi. He's the foreign affairs correspondent, Washington Examiner. We've analyzed the Israeli situation. We've analyzed the U.S.-China situation and the trade talks to come, the side meeting on Thursday. We'll follow that up with you, Tim, and look forward to it.
All right. Take care.
All right. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our veterans tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by John Basiliga. And as we head into the weekend, we feature just one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality. Options galore. 3-bar restaurants, second to none. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton on Far Street, of course. The Queen City Tavern, the Main Drag in Oliphant. Fine dining? Yeah, we got that. A Terra 519. The modern take on luxurious first-class dining, downtown Scranton. Let's go to downtown Wilkes-Barre, the Stegmeyer Mansion, the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Dine in old world class. Pretty good bar, too. And guess what? They've opened the Fred Stegmeyer Mansion. Bed and breakfast. Available for anyone very soon. Joe Arcuri. Joe Arcuri, we lost him this year, September 16th. He lived his entire life in West Scranton, PA, and proudly so. Joe married his high school sweetheart, Dorothy Bernavage. Back in 1970, they celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary this year. The couple are proud parents of 3 sons who survived Joe. He was known for both his extraordinary work ethic and his love for family. He graduated from West Scranton High School, class of 65, earned his BA in teaching from Kutztown University. He had also honorably served all of us in the U.S. Army Reserves, becoming a chemical warfare specialist. He worked as a teacher in Scranton School District, at Scranton Tech, Central High School, and finally Scranton High School, where he served as chair of the history department before retiring in 2012. He loved sports throughout his life. In addition to teaching, he served as head football coach for Bishop O'Hara, Scranton Tech, Scranton High School, and was a decorated PIAA official for football, basketball, and track for 46 years. His colleagues will remember his commitment to the development of young minds and his extraordinary dedication to his work in teaching, coaching, and officiating. I liked him. What a solid guy. Joe Arcuri. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast, meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny, increasing clouds this afternoon as we head towards this evening's rain. Joe thinks it'll get up to 55, 49 outside the studios as I speak. It'll be down to 45 tonight. Thursday, cloudy and windy with rain. Heavy at times, a washout on Thursday, 53 degrees. Friday, Halloween, cloudy and windy, breaks the sun and the chance of showers, 50. You know what I think I'm going to dress up as? One of those weather reporters who goes down into the hurricanes. Maybe I'll do that. As a young guy, I didn't appreciate B.J. Thomas as much as I do now. Hooked on a Feeling, Scepter Records. Murph says he released that hit this date, 1968. And another great song, B.J. Thomas. How about that, though? Before that, we played Jasmine Crockett. She goes from semi-serious person to jive queen. Somebody texted in, Bob Iser in Dunmore. Good. Thank you. Thank you for getting here. I've been hearing that we've been deporting people on fairly regular basis, and that's good. They're here illegally. They say, well, they're human beings. Well, yeah, they are. I was a human being when they separated me from my kids. Right? I mean, all the new arguments are nonsensical. You're here illegally. You've got to go. Somebody says, Bob, LTS, Peter Pan in tights. No, kid, that's not happening. Well, no, I got to be out all night. I want to be comfortable. Music Man wants to know, who are we voting against for the Supreme Court? The judges not to retain? It's Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Okay? The names are Wecht, Donahue, Doherty. Wecht, Donahue, Doherty. We call it Doherty around here. Dougherty. Awful. Awful left-wing Democrat political operatives. That's all they are. They are not judges at all. They don't even bother with the disguise. We got local judges who disguise themselves at least. Not that that's any better, but it's crazy. And yeah, but those are the three names: Wecht, Donahue, Doherty. Somebody says, I like the Ooga Chaka version of Hooked on a Feeling. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Somebody else pointing out the aunt that Mamdani cried over, the fake tears, was not even his aunt. It was the cousin of his father. And she didn't live here in New York City at the time. There are three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and me wearing a jumpsuit. All right, let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to come back, and we got Chet Murley. Chet he's our candidate for Lackawanna County Commissioner. We want to talk to him. We'll take a break and be back. Yeah, when we play our guy Neil Diamond, I think of my guy, Doc Doherty. On the mend. But on this date, 1970, he received a gold record, not Doc Doherty, Neil Diamond, for his hit Cracklin' Rosie. Bob Cordaro, as we head into the conclusion of the program, let's go to Chet Murley. Chet, how are you? How's your campaign going?
We hit the airwaves. We have mailers going out, so it's time to step up in this last week, and I see my competitors are doing the same. Thanks for taking me at this late hour. Yesterday, myself and my other two opponents were interviewed by the chamber and its various boards, and we were interviewed individually. And one of the questions were interaction with the chamber. In my career, we were able to do our automated mapping, our paper-based record-keeping system over to digital, which eventually ended up right now where you see the laptops in the vehicles. This was way back in the late 1990s and early 2000s. And we used two Chamber of Commerce incubators, one called the NEAR, which was the Old Boat Tech up in Mayfield, and the other one called the Carbondale Technology Transfer Center. It was a big gamble on our part to do it. This was my project that I had to make a success out of. And the people at the NEAR at the time, they were one was from Rochester, and the other one, Synergist Technology Group, was local. And they built a data model, and we started our conversion process. And so I had a history of dealing with the Scranton Chamber on that. Now going into the campaign, it's taking a lot of twists politically, and it's starting to show that my two opponents are a part of the same party that broke this county.
And I tell people, I said, if you want change, and by the way, we got input from a number of our listeners, some of whom were at that chamber event. They said, Chet Murley's the guy. I heard them all. But if you want change, and it's very clear Lackawanna County government is broken, you've got to go with Chet Murley. There's not another option. And I like Tom Welby a lot. It just ain't going to be. It's not going to be a change. And then he'll be out there promoting Paige Cognetti for Congress next year. I just can't do it.
I agree with you, Bob. I agree with you.
I figured you would.
Well, listen, thank you for taking my call.
Chet, how are you finding the campaign trail just on a human level?
Exhausting. Yeah. Absolutely exhausting.
It never ends, does it? Never ends.
Oh my gosh! We had two events last night. One in South Side, one in West Side, and we're in Democrat area. Set up nicely, and we got to mingle, and we're having these small town events in local areas where we get to speak one-on-one. We do get our following that comes up, but we have the local people that are coming out and voicing your opinion. They're not all on our same ticket.
Well, the thing that people have to understand, because there's always that thing, well, he's Republican, he can't win, even though they're up for you. And I say, well, whoa, this is a very different year. Number one, tax increase. Number two, Boy King Bill Gaughan. Number three, the reassessment. I said at number four, a divided virtually down the middle Democrat Party. This is very winnable if people get out and vote.
My two opponents need to keep beating each other up, and we need a strong Republican turnout, and we will win this.
Or sensible Democrats too. We'll take them. Even they've had enough of this insanity.
You know what? You're right. There's a lot of frustrated Democrats up there, a lot of them. And a lot of them are involved with the party, and I do get texts from them, and I'm quite surprised. And actually, that's one of the things that did prompt me to run, is because of that, the frustration by Democrats themselves.
Yeah. And Capolini's no change. He's going to rubber stamp Gaughan. I mean, it's what is, sadly. So we appreciate you running. I told you last time we were talking, I'm glad you are. You're doing it for the good of the county, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for taking my call, Bob.
Chet Murley, Lackawanna County Commissioner candidate, our endorsed candidate. we always appreciate what he's doing, and he's plugging away for us. And again, I go back, well, can Gene Barrett win? Yes. Yes. But he's not going to win if you sit on the sidelines. Can Chet Murley win? Yes. But he can't win if you sit on the sidelines. These are not self-fulfilling prophecies unless you choose to do nothing. And we do this Veterans Tribute every day. Do you know what we're called upon to do? To save this country, to keep this country great? Vote. Talk to others that are like-minded. Get them to vote. That's all you have to do. We don't have that much of an event. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Tied to the Whipping Post wraps it up. Ms. Murph's special request. He loves the guitar solo because Dwayne Allman killed in a motorcycle accident this date, 1971, trying to avoid a tractor trailer in Macon, Georgia. This is Whipping Post live at the Fillmore East, 1970. Guys, have a great afternoon. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Sue Henry show next. Rob O'Donnell show after that. Have a good one, but for now, I got to go. We are, that's what my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me. It's 12 on the nose, and we are adjourned.